Welcome to Meme Reads. Today we'll be covering r/, am I the butthole? Am I the butthole for returning a birthday gift that I got from my boyfriend after he insulted me about my colorful past? I dipped into my savings and got Mike, my boyfriend, a PS5 for his birthday yesterday. He knew that he was getting a PS5 because he told me that the PS5 is the only thing that he wants. We've been together for 4 years, so the cost didn't matter to me. That is, until I found out what he thinks about me. For some background, when I was 18, I was involved with Jake, a guy who I met online. We ended things after 3 months, and I shortly moved on with Adam, a guy from work. I found out a couple months later that Jake and Adam were actually really close friends, but I didn't know Jake long enough to meet his friend group, so I had no idea. After finding out, I took some time off of dating, and 2 years later, I met my current boyfriend, Mike. I was upfront and honest with Mike about my past and the fact that I was unintentionally involved with friends. He said that he understood my past and that it didn't bother him. Last night at his party, I showed up with the PS5 and him and his friends were screaming with joy. His best female friend Jessica laughed and said, "I wish I was a THOT who could afford a PS5 too." I looked at her with an "excuse me" look on my face and she just said, "Never mind," and walked away. I confronted my boyfriend about it and he said, and I quote,
"She's just messing with you, you can't take a joke."
So I pushed further as to why this girl is even calling me names to begin with, and he said,
"Well, everyone knows that you were a THOT before you met me."
I asked him to explain how I was a THOT before I met him and he said,
"You know, messing with best friends."
He then pat me on the shoulder and said that it's okay because I'm not who I was back then, and if he could get over my quote colorful past and THOT mentalities to give me a chance, then I could get over Jessica's comments and give her another chance. I didn't say anything. I just got up, took the PS5 from the gift table, and left. He was pissed. He literally called me like 20 times, but I didn't care. I was so hurt that I took the bow off and took it straight back to the store that I got it from. They happily gave me a refund for it. I thought that this was done, but Mike and all of his friends, including Jessica, are berating me for being petty, and they're all saying that I brought this on myself for making poor life choices. I responded to Mike, and I told them that he deserves better than me, and to go find someone who wasn't a quote THOT, and to get a PS5 from them because I returned it. He started screaming about how I'm the biggest butthole for returning it and how I should be happy he ignored my quote colorful past. I'm thinking maybe taking it back went too far. Am I the butthole here? Alright, this story is already insane, but before I give any commentary, luckily OP has an update. So, turns out you guys were right, but we'll get into that. Firstly, I unblocked Mike this morning and I called him to talk. After a few hours of arguing, I finally got the truth out of him. He said that after I told him about my past, he was fine with it because it happened to him before. Then, he got curious about who Jake and Adam were. So, he went digging on my Facebook friends list and didn't find Jake, but he did find Adam. He then condemned me for having an X on my social media page, but I said that I don't speak to a majority of the people on my Facebook, and I wouldn't delete them. I just wouldn't engage with them. He said that in his eyes, that was a red flag, so he went digging, and that's when he found what he was looking for. He saw that Adam was well known and was well liked by a lot of women because of all of the women liking and commenting on his posts. And by all of the cars and trips that he posted, he knew that Adam had to be wealthy. He also admitted to knowing some of the women who were in Adam's comments. He then tried digging into Adam's friend list, but it was hidden. So he asked his female friend Jessica to stalk his likes, comments, and posts for someone named Jake. Sure enough, they found Jake. They saw that Jake drove an expensive car and came to the conclusion that I was only dating men for money. And just to note, Mike doesn't have any money, so his entire analysis was dumb. Anyway, I asked him why he didn't just come to me, and he confessed that for a while, he thought that I was interested in Jake and Adam for money, because that's just what
women do.
He then said that him and Jessica brought this situation up with his guy friends, and they all agreed that this is how the situation went. I was dating Jake, he introduced me to Adam, I found out that Adam had more money than Jake, I left Jake to sleep with Adam, and then started dating Mike. I questioned why I would leave Adam if this was all just for money, and Mike said that he thought that that was a lie, and that Adam had to be the one to leave me. Ouch. He then said that he contemplated breaking up with me over this for months, but as he got to know me, he slowly realized that I'm not that kind of person. I told him that he's basically full of it for dirtying my name with his friends. Then I asked him why he didn't just clear up my name. He said that whenever he brought me up to his friends, they all dismissed me as either a gold digger, a THOT, or a woman who slept with men for money. And here's the kicker. Probably still have some of that money saved. They came to the conclusion that I must be with Mike for some ulterior motive, but he was too embarrassed to defend me. He also said that he was embarrassed every time I mentioned a male friend or tagged any guy on social media because all of his friends teased him afterwards. I remember him asking me not to like any other man's photos on social media and to not tag any guys, but I just thought it was because it made him feel uncomfortable, not because his friends were silently stalking me. After hearing all of this, I decided to end things with Mike. I told him that he's not a nice person, and I can't trust him anymore, especially because he knew that I was saving for months to afford this PS5. And he allowed his friends to think that I just got my money somewhere else. After ending it, I said, "Oh, by the way, have you ever slept with Jessica?" He said no, but after she found Jake, she suggested that they hook up if he ever needs to, quote, "give back at me" in the future. I asked what she meant by getting back at me, and he said that she was certain I would cheat on him with a wealthier man if I found one. He then said that he gave me the truth after all of these years, so I should forgive him and give him another chance. But I didn't. I just thanked him for the good times, the memories, and for dirtying my name. Then I hung up and blocked him again. Now, I think I'm going to take another long break from the dating world. Thanks again, everyone. Imagine buying someone a PS5 and they turn around and call you a THOT. Anyways, OP, I'm glad that you got out of that situation. I mean, what colorful past do you have? You dated someone, and then the person you moved on to happened to be that other person's best friend. And then you ended it after you found out. I don't think anything about that sounds like a red flag, and I think your ex-boyfriend is just insecure. You get 0 out of 5 buttholes, OP. You did nothing wrong. You just literally gave this guy a PS5. Your ex-boyfriend, on the other hand, gets 3 out of 5 buttholes for not having your back in the relationship and insulting you in front of his friends. Also, he sounds like he's an insecure prick. How could he make that assumption about you solely based on the Facebook friends that you have? He had no right letting his friends treat you that way based off of his own insecure delusions.
Am I the butthole for cooking food while my roommate's girlfriend was here and then offering her some? I'm a 21-year-old male from the South. I grew up in New Orleans and Texas, and my mom runs a catering business, and the majority of our clients were either at home in Louisiana or in Texas. I add this to say that I grew up cooking and helping my mom cook for the business. I was frying chicken and catfish when I could barely reach the stove, and making gumbo and buttermilk biscuits at a very young age. I'm currently in culinary school right now. I've lived in a rented house on the East Coast with my roommate, who's a 22-year-old male, for about a year and a half. He's not a good friend or anything, we just linked up because we both needed roommates in the area. He's good to live with, and we watch shows and movies together. We hang out and go out for drinks sometimes. I make friends easy being from the South and doing customer service related things since I was a kid. I know how to talk and charm and listen to people despite being more naturally introverted. My roommate's been seeing his 20-year-old girlfriend for like 6 months. I've met her a couple times and only really seen her in passing, but my roommate and his girlfriend had a 2-week break from school things, so during that time, she decided to stay with us for the 2 weeks. I was just doing things as I normally would. It got weird at first when I was about to mow the lawn, and then my roommate stopped me and said that he wanted to mow, which is weird because I usually mow. A couple days later, I was outside washing my car. I asked them both if they wanted me to do theirs, and she looked like she was going to agree, but then he looked at her very angrily, so then they declined. I cook pretty frequently at home as well, and usually let my roommate have some, so anytime I'd make food, I'd say that they were more than welcome to it, and this would get my roommate pissed. Weeks prior when she was here and we were all talking, she mentioned something about this specific kind of cheesecake that she really likes. So I made some, and I sent the group chat a text so everyone could have it. My roommate got pissed. I don't see anything as overstepping a boundary, as this is how I treat him and all my other guests. The other day, he told me how annoying it was to hear his girlfriend talk about, quote, how good your roommate's fresh baked bread is. I'm not trying to make him look bad or anything. This is simply how I was raised. If I bake 2 loaves of bread, I'm gonna leave it out for the house to eat. The cheesecake is just common courtesy to me. When parents come over, I make them pound cake because they like it. If a guest is coming, you get them or make them something that they like. Nothing is odd about picking up chips or making some tea for when guests arrive. That's just how I was raised. I just want to say that generally, we have a good roommate relationship. We're not best friends, but it's friendly enough. The only change is when his girlfriend's here. So no, I'm not looking for new roommates, or to be adopted, or to move in, but thanks though. Here's some other things that really upset him. I went to the grocery store and asked if anybody needed anything. I was frying chicken and offered both of them the first or best pieces right out of the oil. I changed the oil to my own car. I used a smoker in the backyard to make a brisket. I grilled and smoked in the backyard and needed a piece of wood cut in a certain way to hold something up. I cut and nailed some wood together in the garage. It feels like I can't even exist when she's here. I tend to try and see the good and the best in people, so I wasn't seeing him for being very insecure and was trying to look at him in more of a positive light. But he just texted me and said that I greet his girlfriend in too kind of a way, and it's annoying that I say, quote, be safe when she leaves the house. I say this to him and everybody when they tell me that they're going somewhere. He sends me a long text detailing that it's bad that I look her in the eyes when she's talking to me. Maybe it's time for a new roommate. Before the judgment, I really like this comment down below. Not the butthole. You're raising a bar he doesn't want raised by getting things done. He wants to pretend that he's a better partner than he is. He also doesn't want you highlighting the things that he isn't interested in doing. In a way, you're unintentionally showing that he isn't the best partner material to keep around. Keep doing what you're doing. He's being ridiculous. I 100% agree. He's super insecure about everything that you're doing in your life. Just by being yourself, in some weird way, you're intimidating his relationship in his eyes, which is not okay. Just because he feels like less of a man because you can do more than him in the house doesn't mean you have to stop what you're doing, OP. You get a rock solid 0 out of 5 buttholes in my opinion, because you're not doing anything wrong, you're just living your life and being awesome. However, your roommate gets 3 out of 5 buttholes for being insecure and weird about having his girlfriend around you and you just being a normal guy. Also, I feel like he might deserve more because it sounds like he might be emotionally abusing his girlfriend. However, there's not enough here for me to tell, so I can't jump to any conclusions. I don't know, I might be crazy, but to me all the hints are there. Maybe you guys could let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section, but I really think that something else might be going on here. That was Meme Reads. If you really like this content and you enjoyed the video, please consider smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel. Peace.